Your heart is beating right now without you telling it to. Your lungs are pulling in air without a single conscious thought. Your eyes are adjusting to this screen automatically. And somewhere deep inside your skull, a 3-pound organ is processing every single word, translating sound into meaning, emotion, and memory. All of that is happening simultaneously. Right now. Your brain is the most complex object in the known universe. 86 billion neurons. 100 trillion connections. It controls everything about you. From blinking, to breathing, to falling in love, to feeling fear. But here is what nobody tells you. Most of it is happening completely without your knowledge. In this video we are going to break down exactly how your brain talks to your body. By the end you will understand why you yanked your hand off a hot stove before you even felt the pain. You will know why your heart races when you are scared. And you will understand the invisible wiring that makes you who you are. Think of your body like the most advanced city ever built. You have got power plants. Those are your organs. You have got roads. Those are your blood vessels. You have got workers. Those are your cells. And you have got sensors everywhere, constantly reporting back on what is happening. At the center of it all is City Hall. The brain. Every decision, every movement, every sensation flows through the brain. But the brain cannot do any of that alone. It needs a communication network. That network is called the nervous system. The nervous system is split into two main parts. Part 1 is the central nervous system. That is your brain and spinal cord. This is the command hub. Part 2 is the peripheral nervous system. That is every nerve branching out from your spine into your arms, legs, fingers, toes, and organs. This is the delivery network. Together they form a two-way communication superhighway that never shuts off. Not when you sleep. Not when you are unconscious. Not ever. The nervous system is also split based on what it controls. There is the somatic nervous system. This is the part you are in charge of. Move your hand. Blink on purpose. Speak. That is somatic. And then there is the autonomic nervous system. This is the part that runs on autopilot. Your heartbeat. Digestion. Sweating. Pupils dilating in the dark. All automatic. All happening whether you think about it or not. That autonomic system is the reason you are alive right now. Even while you are distracted watching this video. So how does communication inside the nervous system actually happen? It starts with the neuron. The brain's basic unit. You have about 86 billion of them. Each one looks a bit like a tree, with branches at one end called dendrites that receive incoming signals, a cell body that processes them, and a long tail called an axon that sends the signal forward. Here is where it gets wild. Neurons do not actually touch each other. Between any two neurons there is a microscopic gap called a synapse. To cross that gap the signal has to convert from electrical to chemical. It uses molecules called neurotransmitters to do this. Dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine, norepinephrine. These are not just buzzwords. They are the literal language your brain uses to talk to itself. Once a signal fires it travels fast. Nerve impulses can move at up to 120 meters per second. That is 270 miles per hour. Faster than a Formula 1 car. How is this possible? A fatty coating called myelin wraps around the axon like insulation on a wire. Instead of flowing continuously, the signal jumps between tiny gaps in the myelin called nodes of Ranvier. This jumping method is called saltatory conduction. And it is why your reflexes happen in milliseconds, not seconds. Let us trace a real signal through your body. You reach out and accidentally touch a hot stove. Step 1. Sensory receptors in your fingertip detect the heat and tissue damage. They convert that physical stimulus into an electrical signal. A signal is born. Step 2. That signal races along a sensory nerve fiber toward your spinal cord at up to 30 meters per second. In less than a tenth of a second it arrives. Step 3. And this is the part that blows people's minds. Your spinal cord does not wait for your brain. It immediately fires a motor signal back down to your arm muscles. Withdraw now. That is called a reflex arc. And it is why you have already yanked your hand back before you have consciously registered any pain. Your spinal cord made the call. Your brain is still catching up. A split second later the signal reaches the brain's thalamus. The relay station. The thalamus routes it to the somatosensory cortex. Now you consciously feel the burning. Now you scream. Now your brain decides what to do next. Run cold water. Shake your hand. Or just stand there saying no. Your motor cortex then fires commands back down through the spinal cord to your muscles, executing the response. The total time from touch to conscious reaction is about 150 to 200 milliseconds. The total time from touch to reflex withdrawal is under 50 milliseconds. Your body is literally faster than your own awareness. Your brain is not one thing. It is more like a collection of specialized departments. Each one handles different jobs, all communicating constantly. The cerebral cortex is the wrinkled outer layer you picture when you think brain. This is where higher thinking happens. Language, reasoning, creativity, personality. It is what makes humans uniquely human. The frontal lobe handles planning, decision-making, and impulse control. The occipital lobe processes vision. The temporal lobe handles hearing and memory. The parietal lobe processes touch and spatial awareness. The frontal lobe is the last part of the brain to fully develop. Not until your mid-20s. Which explains a lot about teenage decision-making. Beneath the cortex sit older, more primitive brain structures. The cerebellum at the back of your brain coordinates movement and balance. When you catch a ball, walk without thinking, or type without looking at the keys, your cerebellum is running the show. The brainstem connects your brain to your spinal cord. It controls the absolute basics of survival. Heart rate, breathing, blood pressure, swallowing. The brainstem never truly rests. Not even when you sleep. Then there is the limbic system. Your emotional brain. The amygdala processes fear and threat detection. The hippocampus forms new memories. The hypothalamus regulates hunger, thirst, temperature, and triggers the stress response. When your gut says something is wrong before you can explain why, that is your amygdala firing. Your body runs on two opposing autopilot modes. Mode 1 is sympathetic. This is fight or flight. When your brain detects a threat, your hypothalamus triggers a chain reaction. Your adrenal glands release adrenaline. Heart rate spikes. Blood rushes to your muscles. Pupils dilate. Digestion pauses. You are primed to fight or run. This system evolved to handle immediate physical threats. A predator. A fall. An attack. The problem is your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a lion and a work deadline. Chronic stress keeps your sympathetic system partially activated. That is why long-term stress causes real physical damage. Elevated cortisol. Suppressed immune function. Disrupted sleep. Increased heart disease risk. Your body is running emergency protocols when there is no actual emergency. Mode 2 is parasympathetic. Rest and digest. When the threat passes, this system takes over. It slows your heart rate, promotes digestion, lowers blood pressure, allows tissue repair and recovery. This is your healing state. The key player here is the vagus nerve, the longest nerve in your body, running from your brainstem all the way down to your gut. It is essentially the off switch for fight or flight. This is why slow deep breathing actually works to calm you down. It is not just psychological. It is physiological. Deep breathing stimulates the vagus nerve, which activates the parasympathetic system. Your heart rate and cortisol levels drop physically within seconds. Here is the most hopeful thing neuroscience has discovered in the last century. Your brain is not fixed. For most of history, scientists believed the brain you were born with was the brain you were stuck with. That turned out to be completely wrong. Your brain rewires itself constantly. This is called neuroplasticity. Every time you learn something, neurons form new connections. Every time you practice a skill, those connections get stronger and faster. Every time you stop using a pathway, it weakens. Neurons that fire together, wire together. That is Hebb's rule, a foundational principle in neuroscience. When you practice piano, the regions of your motor cortex dedicated to your fingers literally expand. When you learn a new language, new neural networks form. When you break a habit, you are physically weakening a neural pathway and building a new one. Practice makes perfect is not motivation. It is neuroscience. You are physically sculpting your brain every single day. We started this video with a simple observation. Your heart was beating without you telling it to. Your lungs were pulling in air. Your eyes were adjusting. But now you know exactly what is happening. Your brainstem is firing rhythmic signals to your diaphragm with metronomic precision. Your autonomic nervous system is balancing 1,000 variables in real time. Your thalamus is routing signals from your eyes and ears to the right parts of your cortex. 86 billion neurons. 100 trillion connections. All working together right now in this moment. And here is the wildest part. You can change it. Every experience, every habit, every skill you practice is physically reshaping that network. Your brain today is not the brain you had 5 years ago. And it will not be the brain you have 5 years from now. You are not stuck with the brain you have. You are constantly, actively building it. If you want to go deeper, the next video covers how sleep resets your brain at the molecular level. You will not look at sleep the same way again. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.